Okay, Sonia.
Okay, great. Thanks, Patty. Hi, everyone. You're all very welcome to Nash Talks number 5. We didn't think when we started doing this 5 weeks ago that we'd be planning Nash Talks 6, 7, and 8. We didn't realize how long we'd all be at home, but a series of talks designed to support us in the new environment that we find ourselves in. So we've covered everything from nutrition to setting up your office space at home to mental health. We had a teacher last week, so we're going to run out of topics soon, but we're thrilled this week to have Dani Sheil with us. We're going to be talking about mindfulness and meditation, and I think it would be lovely to just talk about how to take stock, because the whole situation has been juggling a huge amount of balls. Dani has 20 years experience doing yoga, mindfulness. She's also a wellness coach, does an awful lot of work for a charity. We had a lovely chat earlier about the ISPCC and the spike in demand for the service, which is tough at a time like this. So Dani, from somebody who went all the way to the Beara Peninsula to learn how to meditate and realize it's not something you can learn in a weekend, I'm really interested to hear what you have to say today. So thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you very much for having me, Sonia, Katie and Dean. So yes, I'm just going to share a screen with you guys so that we can work through this. Okay, so just to let you all know, first of all, as Sonia said, my name is Dani. I have been teaching yoga since 2002, where I did my training in New York. I am a EMCC wellness and life being coach. So it's all about anxiety, stress, how we deal with it, how we cope, how we can move on and kind of still, no matter what's going on in our lives, bring ourselves into a fabulous life. I teach mindfulness to teenagers through a school project associated with the Sanctuary and Sister San. It's .be mindfulness. I'm also a Reiki master. So kind of a few different balls juggling. So today's topic is going to be mindfulness. So why practice mindfulness? It's kind of a buzzword, and a lot of us are talking about Mac mindfulness out there. Everybody talks about it and what it is. So basically, why practice mindfulness? The reason being, the reason we practice mindfulness is to bring ourselves in the present moment so that we can enjoy each moment that we have. Mindfulness allows you to handle difficult situations with a little bit more composure and reacting versus responding. We react when we're stressed or angry, whereas when we're mindful, we can deal with the situation without having to flare up or react without every conscious thoughts. So responding in a very mindful way helps us cope with stress and daily challenges. So the MBSR practice was developed by John Kabat-Zinn in the States. He wanted to make Buddhist practice of meditation called mindfulness into a more secular practice. So they've done an awful lot of research on it. He has done mindfulness with NAM vets, people who are suffering from depression, anxiety, and it's basically a huge positive response in all of those areas. So it really helps you cope with stress and challenges. And then also it gets you to savor the good moments. So we kind of always think that, we'll practice something just to help life be better when it's hard. But, so much of what we have in this world is amazing. And I think for a lot of us, when we're at home through this COVID situation, we're probably starting to realize and appreciate the little things like meeting a friend for coffee in a coffee shop that we took for granted before. So mindfulness helps us to be present and therefore to savor all those good moments. So there's two types of practices. We have a formal practice and an informal practice. So just to start us off, we're going to start off with an informal practice. Okay, this is something we can practice at any moment in the day when we feel like we're getting a little bit in our heads, that sense of getting a little bit tight or stressed or anxious. So with this practice, we don't need to close our eyes. I just want you to take a moment and just figure out how you're feeling. Okay, so where is your mind? How is your head going? Are you stressed? Are you nervous? Are you anxious about something that you have to do later today or not? Okay, noticing where you are, and then allow yourself to come down into your legs or your feet. Feel your shoes on, maybe the ground under your feet. Feel your bum on the chair. Notice what the lower legs are. So really bring your focus down into the lower part of your body. And then just be aware of how your breathing is. As you breathe, are you noticing that your breath is predominantly in your lungs, or can you also feel your belly breathing? If you just feel it in your lungs, can you get your diaphragm to activate as well by drawing the breath in from the belly, by swelling up the belly as you breathe in and exhaling? Again, swelling the belly as you breathe in and exhaling. Let's do one more of those. Swell the belly, really draw your breath in as much as possible and exhale. And now, notice where your mind is. See if there's any difference. Have you been able to trace things back a little bit? So mindfulness practice is really about connecting our body, our mind, our breath. I just want to play a little video for you. It's kind of a fun video that gives a nice explanation of it with the simplicity of cartoons.
Despite what you may have heard, meditation does not involve joining a group, paying any fees, wearing any special outfits, sitting in a funny position, or believing in anything in particular. It is simple, secular, scientifically validated exercise for your brain. You don't have to do it yet, but just so you know, here are the 3 steps. 1, sit with your back straight and your eyes closed. 2, notice the feeling of your breath coming in and going out. Pick a spot where it's most prominent. Usually that's your nose or your chest or your belly, and just focus your full attention on the feeling of your breath coming in and going out. Now, as soon as you try to do this, your mind's gonna go nuts. You're gonna start thinking about, what am I gonna have for lunch? Why did I say that dumb thing to my boss? Your brain's gonna go nuts, and that's fine. The whole game is to notice when you've gotten lost and to start over, and then to start over again, and again, and again. Every time you do that, it's like a bicep curl for your brain, and it shows up on the brain scan. Scientists have found this in the lab. It's also, by the way, a radical act. You're breaking a lifetime's habit of walking around in a fog of projection and rumination, and you're actually focusing on what's happening right now. Meditation is unlike anything you do in the rest of your life. Failure is actually success. As I said, the whole game is just trying, failing, starting again, failing, starting again. Here's my advice. You should be meditating every day, 5 to 10 minutes a day. That's it. This doesn't require some giant investment. I don't care how busy you are. You have 5 to 10 minutes to give this a shot. I guarantee you it will make a big difference.
So our little mouse friend walked us through one of the formal practices, which is a seated meditation. One of the things that he suggests is that we sit up straight. So when we are practicing mindfulness, it's really important that the spine is straight. This is a mind-body collaboration. And when we bring ourselves into our practice, it's about connecting all the tools that we have, our physical abilities, our mental, cognitive abilities, but also our senses and our sense of touch. When we sit up nice and straight, the spine is nice and long, keeps us alert, so stops us from kind of drifting off and falling asleep. Really helps with the head. The head is quite a heavy part of our body. So when the spine is straight, it helps to support the head and neck properly, gets the blood flowing. And it's basically about the body and the mind talking to each other. So this is where yoga is a mindfulness practice. When we do practice yoga, we have to stay present with what's happening in our bodies. We have to really feel what's going on, because otherwise we will fall and injure ourselves. We need to stay close to our breathing, which helps also keep us present in this moment. There are lots of different types of mindfulness. There's a body scan, which is going through the different parts of our body. There's the yoga practice. There's the seated meditation, which we will practice now in a moment. There's mountain meditation. There's counting breath. It goes on and on. So right now we're just going to take the second practice, which is following our breath. So for this one, I'd like to see if you can sit up nice and straight, plant your feet on the earth, and for this practice, perhaps closing your eyes. Okay. So when we close our eyes, we tend to withdraw in, and we allow ourselves to settle back inside So that warmth of ourselves, it's like it gives our brain a little bit of a siesta. So when you're here, I'd like you again, notice where you are, how your mind is, how you feel, and then come back in, feel your feet on the earth. Feel your thighs and your sit bones on the chair. Notice what it's like to connect down. And then allow yourself to feel your breathing in your belly, even if it's only tiny, just feel your breathing in your belly. Feel your breathing in your chest, the back of your throat, and the tip of your nose. And as you sit here strong and stable, let your focus settle wherever it is easiest for you to notice your breathing, whether that's your nose, your throat, your chest, or your belly. And as you breathe in, I'd like you to really notice, are you breathing in deeply? Is it shallow? Can you notice the pause in between the in-breath and the out-breath? Can you notice the pause between the next in-breath? Your mind wandered off, bring it back to notice your breath. Mind wanders off, again bring it back to just noticing your breath. Be aware of how difficult it is to stay present. And then slowly return. Take a long deep breath in. Exhale, drop your chin to your chest, softly open your eyes and lift your head and neck. Well done. So just to follow on, you start off the practice by noticing where you are. Connecting with the lower part of your body tends to draw your awareness down, so it's really good to ground you. Notice your belly, your ribs, all the parts of your breath, and then try and stay focused on your breathing in and your out. So mindfulness is a lot of research. There's a lot of research done now with mindfulness. They've noticed, scientists have come up with this neuroplasticity. So what it is when we practice something, our brain actually gets stronger, like you were pumping a muscle, as explained in the gym. We have these synapses, so they connect each of the neurons in our brain. So each time you have a thought, a synapse is wired and it's created. And the more you have that thought, that stronger, that synapse becomes stronger. So if you were, for example, to think, my boss is going to fire me, my boss is going to fire me, then that gets stronger and creates catastrophizing and anxiety. Whereas if you're to practice, I am calm, I am well, that synapses gets stronger and that becomes your reality. So basically it rewires the brain circuits, boosts, again, when that happens, it boosts the body and the mind. So like we exercise our bodies, we can also exercise our brain. Neuroplasticity is really becoming a huge scientific plus to our mindfulness practice. So another practice, the last one we're going to do together here, we're going to practice listening. So the senses, again, are another huge part of our practice. So when you stay steady, just, if you can, close your eyes, but otherwise you can sit just with the eyes softly drawn down. Again, come to that nice solid foundation with the spine long and the breath steady. And then see if we can start by extending our sense of sound, of hearing, to outside of this room. So the room that you're in at the moment, perhaps you can hear cars or people. Easier if you do close your eyes, but again, can you hear creaking in the foundations of the house you're in or the apartment? People, children, birds. And as you hear the sounds, can you not stay and label on a sound, but rather notice it as a tone or a pitch? And then draw that sense of sound a little bit closer, bring it into your room. So perhaps you can hear the hum of your laptop or computer, the white noise of the fridge or the dishwasher, whatever it is, just noticing that sound. And then finally, turning it even closer, noticing the sounds that your body is making right now. Maybe your digestive system, maybe rustling of your fabric of your clothes, or maybe just the sounds of your breath. And as you settle into your sense of hearing, we allow the mind to take that well-deserved little break. Take a long deep breath in, drop your chin, softly open the eyes and lift the head and neck. Super. So COVID-19 has changed all our lives very, very much so. When we were primitive animals about 2,000 years ago, we were built for survival. So to save ourselves from the saber-toothed tiger, to protect ourselves from all the danger that was out there for us. But nowadays we don't have the same stress. However, our bodies still respond the same way. So our minds are naturally going to be attached to the negative, to the catastrophizing, to the worry, to try and keep us safe. So we behave like Velcro to all the negatives in our lives and like Teflon to all the positives, pushing it away. Mindfulness then allows us to come back in, change that up a bit, respond to situations rather than flaring or reacting. And this increases our level of happiness. Human beings are amazing. We adapt to anything. And just this time that we have, that we are at home, we can take it to two ways. We can either sit here and catastrophize and worry about our jobs and what's going to happen and where we're going to work and how it's going to be. And we can let that build up, build those synapses and get all crazy in our heads. Or we can try and find the positives and really focus on that. Gratitude is a huge part of our mindfulness practice. Focusing on being now healthy, getting little habits, taking care of ourselves and being more present and mindful. Happiness is this present moment. So it's not something in the future. It's right here, right now. Mindfulness helps us cope with the bad and find joy in the little things. So I've just listed there's a few apps to practice. You can do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour. You can do a clock, you can do guided, lots of different options. So the apps are, there's Insight Timer, which is my favorite. There's Calm or there's Headspace. All those are brilliant apps. You can just click in, gives you a practice that you can do at any point. And if you're one of those people who like scoring, Insight Timer lets you know if you've practiced every day or not, so you can get all these awards. So a lovely quote from John Kabat-Zinn is, you can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. Life is going to throw all that stuff at us, and we can either deal with it, or we can curl up in a ball, or we can take it as best as possible and learn to live with it. So I've a few details there for myself. If you want to get in touch, if you have any questions, you can email them or you can respond now if you feel like it. Thank you so much for listening. And if you have any questions, then love to try and help.
Thank you so much, Dani. We really appreciated having you on today. I have two questions from the audience. And the first one is, I understand that we should do this 10 to 15 minutes a day. Can it be done at any time, or should it be in the morning, afternoon, before bed?
Really good question. So it is totally, that's the greatness of this practice, is it's totally up to you. There's no set program. Obviously, ultimately, if you could do 2 half-hour stints, one in the morning and one in the evening, it would be great, but that's not practical. For me, it works best in the morning. It kind of sets me up for the day. But for some people, they prefer to do it in the evening. So play around and see what suits you.
Great, thank you. And I have another question here. Will this help kids as well, or is it harder for them to focus?
Totally. Like I said, I do the .b, but there's a .pause. Kids find it fascinating. Again, in the Insight Timer, there's children's meditations, particularly at nighttime. They can get a little bit stressed. So absolutely brilliant practice. And there's finger breaths. So they inhale, one breath up, exhale, inhale, exhale. Focusing on their breathing always calms them.
Oh, that's great. Any other questions from the audience? I don't see any coming in now. So thank you so much, Dani. It was wonderful to have you on Nash Talks today. And thanks to all the attendees that joined.
Thank you so much, Katie.
See you next week.
Take care.
Okay, bye.